Hey there, Wondering Watchers. Thank you for tuning into my channel and welcome to this pick a card reading that reveals the messages that you are meant to hear when this video finds its way to you. There is no predetermined theme to the readings, so if there is something in particular that you are hoping to hear, tap into that intention as you choose your reading, but be sure to keep an open mind during the reading itself, because messages regarding another issue could come through as well. If you don't get the messages you are hoping to hear in any of the readings, then it may not be for your best and highest good to hear such messages at this time. Remember that these cards only provide perspective. You have agency over your life and you make the decisions about how you experience it. It's your choices and your actions that lead to the ultimate truth of your situation. If you are ready right now to hear the messages of your mystery tarot reading, the link to each reading is in the description box below. I have in front of me 4 piles of cards. Pile number 1, Teddy Tarot. Pile number 2, the Land of Stories Tarot. Pile number 3, Chubby Tarot. And pile number 4, Neoteric Feminine Tarot. I decided to do the readings with these particular tarot decks because these are the ones that I gravitate towards personally. So go ahead and pick the pile or piles of cards that you feel drawn to the most. At the beginning of each of the readings, I'll share with you how I tend to use the particular deck and any readings that come to mind that could provide additional context for the messages that you receive. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time to review your choices. Once you've made your decision, go to the description box and click the link for the corresponding pile. Now it's time to tap into the cards, choose your mystery tarot adventure, and let's make magic happen. Welcome back. This is the reading for group number 1, those who picked Teddy Tarot, to reveal the messages that you should hear right now. So for this particular deck, I tend to carry this in my purse, and I do readings for like friends or family if I'm out and about, I would say the significant reading that kind of comes to mind when I use this deck is when I went to a Duran Duran concert with my brother and his wife and his daughter. And he had got the tickets from like a third party, and we had to wait to figure out what was going on there. And I use these cards to kind of entertain my sister-in-law and my niece and try to figure out like what's going on, what's going to happen, and so forth. And so I would just pull a random card every now and then. And what's interesting is like kind of what I pulled and what I said would happen next would happen. And ultimately we went from, possibly my brother getting tickets that were like, what's the word, counterfeit, and possibly not getting into the concert, to getting some really cool hidden seats near the front of the stage. And my sister-in-law and my niece kind of were really impressed every step of the way of what I was able to say, what's next, what's going to happen next, and so forth, for like about, I don't know, maybe an hour it took us to deal with all that. And my brother didn't say anything, but I knew he was paying attention, but I figured he just didn't care what was going on with my tarot cards. But a few months later, I went to my brother's like 50th birthday celebration. He had a bunch of friends there. And I was talking to this one guy. Actually, no, I talked to him before that celebration. So it was about About a month later or so, I was talking to my brother's friend. He was asking me for advice about something, not tarot related, but basically he was telling me how my brother was super impressed about me predicting what was happening next at the Duran Duran concert. And my brother never said anything to me, but his friend was like, no. He was really super stoked, and he was like, you got to see what she can do with these cards. And I was just like, well, they're just cards. But that's what my experience is with this Teddy Tarot. So let's see what we have here. We have psychic abilities. Okay, so that seems pretty fitting. So group number 1, let's kind of see what this message is for your psychic abilities. So, okay, what do we have here first? We have here the Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles. Okay, so here, group number 1, this kind of, with the pentacles here, it's seeming that it has to do with things materializing for you in the physical world. Possibly a sense of kind of knowing that you can really create something and manifest them. Possibly kind of doubting yourself. Kind of maybe if there's opportunities to like trust your intuition, you kind of get more logical things that present themselves, certain opportunities that present themselves that might be like synchronistic. Maybe you kind of rationalize that away and kind of think like you don't want to invest too much in thinking that you have control or thinking that you can influence things, because when it turns to logic, then it's like, well, you reach a point where there's just no more information that you can actually get that's logical. So you kind of tend to maybe turn your back on like what it is that you're feeling or sensing. And here it's like, it could just be how you've learned in life with this Page of Pentacles, how you learn new things, how you kind of have control over your environment, how you kind of how things materialize for you in the past. Maybe you kind of have learned that, well, I have to logically do A, B, and C for this to be the case, or things have had to present itself in this way to me before I can actually kind of think that I'm connected to it. So it's almost like you are, I would say, not necessarily just kind of maybe doubting your abilities, doubting yourself, doubting like how much you trust yourself. And here, this Four of Pentacles, you could see this Teddy is holding on for dear life to this like pentacle and being propped up by these other pentacles. It's a sense of like security and maybe kind of making sure you are grounded, that you're like, that you're taking care of yourself first, that there's no question going on. So if you're feeling good about yourself, like emotionally, if you're like thinking like clearly, if you are not like tired or run down, if you're like in good physical health, and you're kind of in a good place yourself, it can be that maybe you'll have a better like being in touch with your senses, and starting from a good like basis will help you kind of tap into that inner tuition and trusting yourself, trusting that you can like really manifest things into reality, and that there are opportunities, like things that you probably don't see or know, but you have a sense, like you can feel it, but it's almost like I want to say like almost remember the times that things don't work, or you forget the times when things do work in terms of, what comes out of something. So group number 1, let's get more information here about this message. Well, these two wanted to come out. So we have gaining speed and on fire, which is kind of like this teddy here on fire. I do get a sense that, like, depending on how you kind of prepare yourself, like how you can maybe like protect yourself against protect yourself in a sense of like making sure you have good nutrients, good sleep, that you are not taking on too much, that you kind of know your limits and have like certain boundaries that you put into place. It's a sense that you can really get a lot of like information upload going on. Like there's a lot that if you maybe take some time to get grounded and tap into your senses, you'll be able to get a sense of what is going on around you, within you, and kind of be able to recognize how you are not just living in the world, but actually have an active connection to your environment and how you can kind of make things happen. And you have here this balloon and destinies. So like ultimately, like you tapping into your psychic abilities, whatever it is, whether you have a sense of you can, you're clairvoyant, you have deja vu, you hear things, certain words, and it kind of shows up in your life somehow, or maybe there's like a song that you can't get out of your head and it plays on the radio. Like just recognizing those little synchronicities and how they match up. It's almost a sense of you really getting more connected to your world and seeing how you can kind of not manipulate it in a bad way, but you can work with the universe or the environment in a way that you can kind of shape things to flow the way that you'd want them to flow. So let's get some more cards here, group number 1. So you have this arrow, surround yourself with protective energy. So definitely making sure that, whatever it is that protection means for you, perhaps it is making sure that you are not surrounding yourself with negative thoughts, with negative people, making sure that you know what fulfills you and what doesn't, that you kind of, like I said, make sure that you are physically healthy, emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, whatever that is for you, so that you can definitely protect yourself, know what your baseline is and what your boundaries are, so that you get a good starting point to kind of tap into what's surrounding you, what's kind of flowing around you, what's flowing to you, through you. You have mountains. Stand your ground. So group number 1, for some of you, this psychic abilities can be a sense of kind of, you know what to do about a certain situation, and you have decided to either not make a decision about it, or you kind of don't want to deal with it, and perhaps there are things that you learn, or things that you are seeing from other people that kind of make it seem like it's not worth your time. But here it's a sense of like kind of strengthen your inner reserve or inner yourself. It's like a sense of like, it's almost like an iceberg here, this mountain. This is like a reflection, but you might need to kind of recognize what's down below and not just focus on the surface of things. So that goes for like yourself, but that also goes for other people. Like if there's things that you can't figure out because you don't have the information, this almost is kind of a way for you to be in a place where you can just trust yourself and trust what you're feeling. And here we have warrior, be fearless, and stand strong. So even if you don't have information on something, even if you don't have the facts, like being in this place of knowing who you are, knowing, like being in touch with your senses, being in touch with your environment is really going to help you to kind of know which direction to look in, know when to kind of like, it's like that sense of like if your body is tensing up about something, recognizing it's tensing up and then assessing like, well, what's going on with me, and kind of just trusting yourself. Do you need to back away from someone? Do you need to be more assertive about something? Do you need to be more get more information, or do more doing instead of getting other people's opinions of things? So here we have butterfly spirit and transformation. So group number 1, for some of you, you are really developing your psychic abilities. You possibly have been. Maybe you're aware of it. Maybe you aren't aware of it. Maybe there are certain things that you are starting to kind of pay attention to because certain sensations are, I would say it might be distracting at first, kind of like almost like a food allergy. Like, if you eat something, I think my dad told me about cucumbers, how he was realizing he was becoming allergic to cucumbers because he kept burping after he had cucumbers. And so it's like, it's annoying, but at least at some point he recognized maybe I shouldn't eat cucumbers. So it's a sense of like something is transforming in you. You may be aware of it, and really embracing yourself, prioritizing your health, physical health, mental health, and kind of really getting in touch with your senses is kind of like what the message is here for me, at least. Spirit guardian of winter and retreat. So there's a lot of concepts of stand your ground, retreat, stand strong, protect yourself. So group number 1, it seems like really tapping into your psychic abilities or trusting something that you feel as opposed to can see and have hard facts about. and kind of taking time for yourself, not necessarily trying to get information from other people, but really kind of, this Four of Pentacles, like getting yourself grounded and making sure you have that stability within yourself. That is really going to help you out, whatever the situation is, or just in general. So let's get one more for you, group number 1. We have Daffodil Fairy New Beginnings, which is kind of where we started off with this Ace of Pentacles New Beginnings. So group number 1, it's if you are looking for new opportunities, new ways to make money, new ways to create something, to to have something materialize in the physical world. It seems like this is kind of like the path for you to go, and it seems like there are opportunities there, and making sure that you are in a good place where you are connecting with your body, your 5 senses. Then it'll tap into your sixth sense, but making sure that you are kind of trusting what you're feeling, what you're tasting and hearing, smelling, seeing, all those things, and then kind of going from there. This seems to be what the message is for you. So I hope this provides a helpful perspective of the message that was meant to find you at this time, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is the reading for group number 2, those who picked the Land of Stories Tarot to reveal the messages that you should hear right now. So for this particular deck, I recently got it. I moved to Austin, and my mom came to visit me, and I had these mailed to her. I backed this on Kickstarter, and so she came to visit and brought this, and while she was here, I used this to kind of go through the entire 2 seasons of the show, The Summer I Turned Pretty. My 16-year-old niece suggested it, and my mom loves those kind of sappy love Hallmark kind of movies. So we watched 2 seasons of it, and I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it yet, but basically it has to do with a teenager who is like crushing on someone, and then people are crushing on her, and kind of like how those crushes either go away, don't go away, and how that affects her connections with people and other crushes. So that's what this deck is about. And here we have closure. So group number 2, this message is for you about closure. Maybe it has to do with relationships and getting closures in relationships, kind of like that show that I was watching. Could have to do with other types of closure, but I mean, most time when you talk about closure, it has to do with relationships. So let's take a look at what this message is for you, group number 2. So you have here 3 of Pentacles. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the 2 of Swords, the Sun, and the 6 of Cups. Interesting. I was getting this a lot when I was watching that show. Okay, so here it seems that the message has to do with how you kind of work with others, how you kind of create something or get feedback from others, and a sense of like you really are, it affects how you kind of see yourself, your sense of self-worth, what you are giving to others, how much you give to others, and a sense of like not being sure of some type of decision. Maybe you are like this girl in Summer I Turned Pretty and not sure who you should be with. It's interesting, the Three of Pentacles kind of is reminding me of like the different choices the girl in that show had. So it's almost a sense of like, to me, one thing affects the other, affects how you feel about yourself, affects how you value yourself, affects the choices that you're making. And here you have here the sun. So there is something that like energizes you, something that you want, something that you want to kind of like relish in, but your inability to kind of make a decision about that, or fear about making a decision, may be prolonging it. And so the closure can have to do with you not making a choice or decision. And here with the Six of Cups, it's a sense of maybe remembering that things in the past, or the way that you look at things in the past or remember things in the past, isn't a true reflection of the past. Like, memories don't necessarily work like a video recording. It's almost like how we remember the past, how we kind of remember things in general. It's like bits and pieces being like restitched together. And so sometimes memories can change, or aspects of it become more prominent, and to a certain degree, it's a sense of you like maybe revisit the past. That's fine, but something from the past may need to be like remain in the past and not necessarily try to be like recreated, because here it's like you are kind of creating something in your present. Like there is something that you're putting effort in and others are putting effort in, and really like this is kind of adding to who you are and who you're growing to be. But there's something that you are maybe allowing like certain fears or insecurities from your past to maybe, seep in. So group number 2, let's get some more information about this. You have here on course, create magic, and twin flames. So group number 2, for some of you, I get the sense that this has to do with maybe like a area of study or a career path that you're going down, and maybe like maybe being influenced by someone from your past, perhaps comments that they made to you, either how similar you are, how dissimilar you are, but almost a sense of like still kind of living in this past. Like it's almost like these two are like twin flames right here, and kind of reminding you that you can choose to kind of create your own magic, that you can really set your own course, your own destiny, and kind of be like energized and happy and joyful. You just need to kind of trust yourself and maybe look at what is it that you don't want to see. If there is a decision you don't want to make, why don't you want to make it? What does that indicate for you? What are the consequences there? So let's see what more we have for you, group number 2. We have Magic Guardian, unlock the magic within. So group number 2, again, another card kind of indicating like you can create this magic within yourself. There's nothing from your past in terms of a person or a choice that you need to hold on to continue tapping into the best parts of yourself. We have Protection Guardian, drop your shields. So group number 2, this right here, this indecision is your shield. You can see how you are kind of like, or the person here is covering their heart chakra, maybe afraid to be hurt, maybe afraid to bring up things from the past, but really to allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to feel things, allow the uncertainty to kind of be there and see how it feels. That's something that can really help you with whatever the decision that needs to be made and whatever needs to be left in the past. And here we have Earth Guardian, stay rooted and grounded. So group number 2, in terms of like whatever helps you to stay in this like Queen of Pentacles energy where you are showing love to yourself, prioritizing yourself, having a high sense of value, and like investing in the things that make you feel like you are connected to the people around you, connected to your environment, and being in the present. That's a sense that I'm getting here with these cards. So I'm going to go ahead and get some more cards for you, group number 3. Sorry, group number 2. Group number 2. Right, staring me right in the middle here, group number 2. And the Twin Flames. So you have here Daffodil Fairy, New Beginnings. So group number 2, when you have closure, one door closes and another door opens, maybe more than one door. So here you might be kind of thinking about ending something or the end of something, or how someone might take it, and fearing ending of something, but ultimately the end of one thing here I see is like potential for new beginnings for you, and to really tap into your inner magic and really your inner joy. You have Bluebell Fairy, Gratitude. So group number 2, a sense of like being appreciative, being grateful for the small things, even like things that you might not necessarily see having a direct impact on you, or might be like even, what's the word, kind of difficult to hear or accept, like recognizing that they can all help you kind of recognize what you need to be safe, to feel comforted, to feel secure, and to really almost kind of be in the present and allow for more things that are positive to come into your life. So let's get one more card for you, group number 2. You have Dragon and Power here. So you really do have the power to decide. You have it is again reminding me of that show, The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's like they were all telling the main character how much of effect that she had over people, whether she wanted to recognize it or not. And so here it may be like you do recognize that you have the power to, whenever this decision is, to affect somebody. And that it has the power to kind of really set your course going forward. And ultimately, it could be that the fear is like recognizing that you do have that power in you, and maybe afraid to kind of see how that kind of plays out. But here there are new beginnings waiting for you. There is basically like the sun and a sense of like limitlessness going on around you. And this closure here, I'm not going to say it's easy, but these cards kind of indicate how you can kind of get there so that you can move forward and fully embrace your inner magic and the potential that you have for like prosperity, abundance, happiness going forward. So this is what I have for you. I hope this provides a helpful perspective of the message that was meant to find you now. We'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is the reading for group number 3, those who picked Chubby Bun Tarot, to reveal the messages that you should hear right now. So this deck is probably my most used tarot deck. I tend to watch a lot of ghosty shows with them, ghost investigation shows, to see kind of aspects of the history of the property, history of the people, what's going on with ghost hauntings, what the intentions are with paranormal activity. And so I just tend to think this is like a really good deck of cards. There's certain cards that tend to indicate certain things to me. Like there's a lot of court cards when I use these decks for the ghosty shows. There's also, like, I would say the Judgment card and the Wheel of Fortune tend to kind of come up a lot when I'm getting a sense of like concepts of like ghost stuff. I guess it's hard to explain just without there being like a reference there, but it seems that a lot of the court cards kind of match up with what's going on in the storyline or the history, and what tends to be like the cards that kind of show up that make me think that the intention there is just to like make something happen, to kind of have a sense of like affecting the material world, or like the aces. So let's take a look here, group number 3, and find out what your message is. I went ahead and pre-shuffled this oracle card here, and we have willpower for you. So this message has to do with kind of like there's this person holding the world and holding the world in their hands. So kind of like what you can manifest in this world. So let's see what we have for you here, group number 3. What is it that you need to know? We have here the Hermit, the Four of Wands, the Chariot, the Page of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups here. Okay, so here It seems like there are, this has to do with kind of you, and I want to say kind of coupling up with someone, or having to do with like really dealing with how something that you're like internally dealing with or feeling or knowing about yourself, or needing to kind of get to understand about yourself, and then recognizing that aspect of yourself, what it is that you want, your determination, like fully what you have control over, does affect you eventually, being with someone, you eventually being in a relationship. So to me, this like, there's like a concept of like, you just need to or there's an idea that like you just need to keep moving forward. You need to kind of just like keep going out there and making things happen in order to get something. But to me, it's almost like here, the Hermit in this Page of Pentacles, I kind of see like a younger version of yourself as this Page of Pentacles, and this Hermit. It's like this Hermit is not necessarily someone else. It's like aspects of you, like that you need to embrace, because ultimately it affects like how you approach people, your sense of what you're offering, your sense of like what you're passionate about, what it is that you like want to kind of like embrace and share with someone. So to me, this message is kind of like you might feel like perpetually alone type of thing, that maybe no one understands, or you are kind of in a place where no one gets it, but you almost need to be in this place to get a sense of who you are, so that you kind of understand what you're actually moving towards. So this Chariot here, it's like the Chariot, the person in the Chariot, the bunny in the Chariot has to really know what the destination is, because otherwise they're just kind of just moving forward and trying to like make things happen without really truly knowing internally, like this is a card of willpower. Like, what is it that, like, the journey that they're going on, what are they going after? And spending some time by yourself, it's not always going to be like that, but almost like embracing your inner perspective, your inner narrative, your inner knowledge, and really kind of infusing that in almost everything you do, and almost taking your time and enjoying it. Like enjoy your journey, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the process. So let's see what else we have for you. We have Twin Flames. Start now. And Trip. So this Chariot could be like a trip. Maybe you are planning to like move somewhere. With this Twin Flames here, it's a sense of like you are going to, whatever it is that you are going to discover about yourself or come to terms with about yourself, or the inner knowing of who you are and how you operate in this world. Once you kind of embrace that, you're going to be like attracting this to you. And it's almost like that concept of really enjoy what you're doing. This is kind of like, have fun with it. Just kind of take everything as like a learning experience, kind of like with this like Page of Pentacles. Take things slowly, because this is going to be like a long journey for you. And it's almost a sense of like, it's not the destination, but it's how you travel, like that, how you like travel in style, for whatever reason, kind of pops up for me. And it's not necessarily like fashion style, but more like if you kind of are rushing to get to a certain destination, it's almost like, what is it that you're overlooking? And here with the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups, it's a sense of like really enjoying your own time, enjoying and celebrating your, achievements and so forth, and getting a better sense of who you are and what fills you up, what you're excited about, kind of affects like what you're going after, what's next for you. You have Animal Guardian, trust your instincts. So group number 3, like definitely, if there are opportunities for you to be with others or get their insight, if that's something that your instincts are telling you to follow, then definitely follow that. But it's a sense of like you have almost like a higher sense of knowledge, like you are at a maybe intellectually, spiritually, energetically, it's almost like you have that potential to really not just rise above, but like things or have that ability to affect things in a way that other people might not. And so for you, it's like if you can't connect with certain people, it could be because of that. And with this twin flames, it's like embrace who you are, embrace what you know and your sense of self, and don't kind of like lower your standards or dumb yourself down or something to get to a certain destination, to get like the attention of somebody, to be in a relationship with someone, to get a job, or it's almost a sense of like you are at a higher level, more so than other people are, like more aware and connected to yourself and your environment, and like not like enjoy that. Don't necessarily trade that for something less. You have Guardian Angel, you are not alone. So here, even though there's this Hermit card, it's a concept of like you might think you're by yourself, but you're not. There are your guardian angels, your guides, spirit guides, whatever it is your belief is, whatever you're tapping into that is outside of yourself. Even if you feel alone physically at times, that's not necessarily the case. And we have Medicine Mother, honor your inner knowing. So again, that like concept of you have a knowledge of who you are. Embrace that. Don't necessarily try to get somewhere by trying to I would say don't climb over people in the process as well. But like if it's time for you to move on, to move forward, then kind of trust that like what you are learning about yourself and the world around you and what it is you want is really it's kind of really like allowing you to embrace your inner desires, like what drives you and fulfills you emotionally, and kind of going to put you in a place where like what you are seeking and what you're pursuing is your heart's desires. So group number 3, let's get a few more cards out here for this message that you should hear right now. Oh, Spirit Guardian of Summer Expansion. So for some of you, group number 3, it is almost a sense of like a physical journey, moving somewhere, traveling somewhere, and really it seems like that is going to bring a lot of abundance and not only expand your knowledge, but almost like how your perception of things, how much you enjoy things. Like it's almost like if you are, tasting fruit and it's like the best fruit ever, it's like super ripe. That's kind of a sense of like what this is, this kind of how you're evolving and growing at your own pace and, trusting yourself. We have air, spirit, and knowledge. Again, I was kind of commenting about the hermit and being like above others and being able to see and understand and know more than others, and being like in a really good place where other people might not be on your level, and that's fine. It's not necessarily to look down upon them, or to kind of have them recognize your superiority. It's more just like trusting yourself to kind of, if certain people aren't right for you, to move on from that. And you might not know all the facts of why that's the case, but trusting yourself, that might be like a huge message. And for whatever reason, it's making me think of one of my college crushes, boyfriends, that I couldn't not get away from in a bad way. Like I was always drawn to him, kept going back to him. And it wasn't like bad things. I was just like, 19, 20, and just very young, didn't know how to communicate well. But ultimately there's no exact reason, but I just felt like that person was no longer an option. And years later, I found out that he had gone from prison to prison or jail to jail and addicted to meth. That wasn't going on when I was dating him, but certain I couldn't see the future, but something about me, like I was moving, going to college, and pursuing my own path, and that just kind of just reminds me of this, or this spread is reminding me of that. And here we have elves and playfulness. So again, that concept of really enjoying your journey, have fun with things, it seems like you have a lot of great things going on for you, and it's almost a sense of like embrace who you are, embrace what you know, embrace what you can manifest, because like it's all just icing on your twin flames cake pretty much. So group number 3, I hope that this provides a helpful perspective of the messages that are meant to find you at this time, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome back. This is the reading for group number 4, those who picked Neoteric Feminine Tarot to reveal the messages that you should hear right now. I really enjoy using this deck by Spell. I found it after I had backed another deck of theirs on Kickstarter that's actually a cat tarot deck. This deck has keywords on it for upright and reverse meanings. So it's good if you need a review of things or if you are beginning out. I tend to use these for readings to tell me about my day in terms of its overall description, something important to be mindful of, something to embrace to have the best day possible, something to share with others, and what I can look forward to for by tomorrow. So group number 4, let's take a look at what these cards have for you. And I pre-shuffled these oracle cards, and we have here passion. So let's see what we have in terms of messages relating to passion for you, group number 4. Okay. You have here Queen of Swords, 5 of Cups, the Lovers, 7 of Swords, and 9 of Swords. Wow. Okay, so a lot of swords here, and then you have this like Lovers card right in the middle, and this is a card for the sign of Gemini, which is associated with the element of air, which kind of goes along with all these swords. The only other element you have here is the 5 of Cups, or water, which has to do with emotions. So what I'm kind of getting here is kind of like with this Queen of Swords, I'm getting that you have had a past that has made it so that being logical, rational, being a little bit detached from a person or situation makes things easier for you. It could be that life has hardened you a bit, or made you more aware or wiser. But here with this 5 of Cups, it's almost a sense of like, this is this kind of rational view of things, and trying to have a more like protective shell around you is because of something from your past that hasn't fully been experienced. It could be that you don't want to get close to whatever this experience is, whatever that loss was, whatever the dissatisfaction or heartbreak was, whatever the feelings of being, it says feeling let down here. It's almost a sense of like you are kind of trying to protect yourself from feeling this emotion, but basically it seems to be affecting your long-term decisions or your choices here. And you know, to some degree, it could be like you don't really want to play any games, or you don't want to engage in things that really aren't going to like in the long run work out for you. But in a sense, it's like there's a sense of being betrayed with the 7 of Swords. that's associated with kind of like being hardened and kind of like, I'm gonna pursue this connection, I'm gonna pursue these feelings with more logical, rational aspects about things. And ultimately, you know, if there's something that is meant for me, it'll find me type of thing, or like I'll deal with that later, or when I'm positive that's what that's going to be, because I don't want to necessarily deal with potential, like, you know, people who are like liars, stealers, cheaters, deceptive, sneaky. But ultimately it's a sense of like, if being caught up in your head with this Nine of Swords, being like in a place of, you know, things that you really can't control, and almost like not in this passion is almost, I mean, like based on these cards, not non-existent. It's more rational approach to things. So let's see what's going on here, or what more messages we have for you, group number 4. You have baggage. So kind of like what I was saying, it's a sense of you maybe, and I think it's really interesting that this mound on this this wagon here of sand is kind of reminiscent of this mountain in the background here in the Lovers card, but also kind of like similar to this like flames of passion here. So to me, it's kind of like this, your past, your baggage, and being afraid to deal with those things, or not rationally wanting to deal with it, and maybe like not even thinking of it as fear, like I'm afraid, but just like kind of like, oh, you know, like I don't want to deal with those feelings because that's not necessarily true love. And really rationalizing what this concept of, you know, what is going to ultimately be good for you in the end. It's almost taking it out of a unity concept, and more like your belief or perception of what that would be and what that would mean to you, and almost like how that would be for the other person, without actually dealing with the feelings of it, and being in a place of genuine kind of heartfelt connection with someone. It's almost as if it's like maybe like even concepts of passion and what that means for you are foreign or lost, or maybe haven't really even been developed. So we have this play card. So group number 4, this message here is for you to play, actually have fun. Maybe like this aspect of the 5 of Cups, something that some lost in your past had to do with, you know, like when you were a child, and like, you know, maybe kind of think back on when that concept of play and having fun and really just doing what you loved without actually rationalizing it, when that actually like started to change. And we have here this soul family. So group number 4, it seems like this, with this Lovers card here, being like the major spiritual lesson, life lesson going on here, that's being, this message is pertaining to. It's almost as if, like I was saying, the way of protecting yourself and being so rational about things, or how you're thinking about it and kind of overthinking about things, is impacting your long-term decisions and ultimately the people that come into your life. And it's almost like if you're not learning things for yourself, then you're just repeating certain learning lessons or patterns, like the universe, your spirit guides, whatever your belief system is. It's almost as if the people that are going to come into your life are going to help you to try to deal with this situation, but if you can kind of deal with it yourself, then you're almost going to be able to open things up to like more passion coming into your life, more fun. But let's see here. You know, with the 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords, the 5 of Cups here, and even the Lovers, I would say for some of you, if you feel like there's someone that you don't have someone to talk to about this, maybe talking to a counselor, a qualified medical professional to kind of help you work through this if you absolutely have been avoiding something from your past. So let's see what we have here. We have Lady, enjoy growth and reap rewards. So there's something that has been kind of like blocking you from actually maturing and blossoming in a certain way. Almost kind of like the Empress energy, where it's affecting how you are in touch with your senses, with your sensuality, the things that are pleasurable to you. We have Earth Guardian, stay rooted and grounded. So here, another concept of that like earth element, and like you're dealing with something that makes you feel secure in who you are, connected to like nature, connected to like the true you, and having to like how you're experiencing things with your physical body. So here with these swords, with all this air energy, it's very much like kind of like mental, and not really attached or ingrained in the physical body aspects. You have Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. So group number 4, it could be like this message is kind of telling you like something from your past could be something that maybe affected your parents, some kind of way of thinking or way of handling discomfort or loss or sadness, and kind of just like, what's the word? It's like getting back in touch with your physical body and your sense of what's pleasurable to you. Dealing with that baggage can really kind of help you see things that maybe affected your parents, their parents, and get a better understanding of them as well. So let's see what else we have in terms of a message for you. We have foggy bog and patience. So it does seem like you going with this like Queen of Swords energy, or maybe it's more like you are more in this chaotic thought and you really need to embrace more clear-headedness, more like break out of the worry and be more rational. It's almost like you're trying to be rational, but it's coming from a place of fear and limited beliefs as opposed to like the actual true potential. It's almost like the boundaries of the true potential of what you can physically experience, and the pleasure and passion connected with that. And it's not just physical, it's almost a sense of where you need to kind of get out of your head and more in line with your heart. But since your heart seems to be kind of looking on the past, dealing with that, getting a sense of like stability and balance, then kind of focusing on how that affects your physical sensations, your 5 senses all together, and then kind of dealing with how that's affecting your life choices. And it seems like it's going to take a while to deal with. And this does have to do, you've got soul family and then ancestral patterns. So it is almost a sense of like, I get, if you feel like you are worried about people coming into your life that aren't honest or something, or who are hiding things from you, it could be that, or you're hiding things from others. It could be like that is something that is part of this ancestral pattern, and maybe unless that's broken, kind of attracting more of those types of things. And with this foggy bog patience, it's almost a sense of like, to get everything in line, it's going to take some time. It seems like there may have been periods, a decent period of like overthinking or stress thinking. And so, like I said, if there is a need for some guidance or counseling, definitely reach out to someone you trust or a medical professional. We have here Starry Night and Acceptance. So group number 4, this is really a card of like reflecting on your past, reflecting situations you have been involved in, and get a sense of like what it is that was important about that situation. What were the highs of it, the lows of it? What was it that you could have contributed or did contribute to that situation? How did you handle that situation? Kind of like, and how did that impact your future? And just like recognizing it. It's like a sense of like accepting the past and getting rid of this baggage here. So let's see what else we have for you. We have Forest, Temple, and Enlightenment. So group number 4, this seems to be like this path here is more about kind of leveling you up and being more aware of the things to honor about yourself, to honor about your world. But it starts with really focusing on some aspects and healing some aspects of your past, so you can really step into who you are and deal with that and the choices that you've made, the choices you're making for the long term. And then like once you kind of get in, like go into this kind of area of dealing with that, accepting it, and kind of having a more solid inner knowing that is not fear-based or based on potential loss, but more on looking at the possibilities and positive aspects and the playing, it's going to lead to this more like really open up your passion. And these cards here, I think it might be like just, that those cards that I do for the daily draw, I don't do it every day, but when I'm really interested about a certain day, or when I think of it, when I have time, I do the 5 card draw with this deck, and it allows me to kind of identify certain things to look out for and kind of recognize, like, again, these are just cards, these are just perspectives, and being able to kind of say, these are the things that are important that are important to me, like the overall, how's the day going overall? What do I need to be mindful about something in the day, like what I can embrace about the day for the best day possible, indicates like looking for that positivity, like really embracing that positive aspect. And then something to share with others. That's how I can make other people's day better as well. And then something to look forward to tomorrow is another like positive aspect. So it's a way of kind of framing my perspective in a way that there is potential positivity more so than looking at the past and looking at like what I might fear. So here I get a sense that that type of maybe routine might help you deal with these thoughts, and perhaps can help you deal with this Five of Cups and the past, but more I feel like you have this potential for enlightenment with this Queen of Swords. And once you get to that point, then you have that potential for the passion. So group number 4, I hope that this provides a helpful perspective of the message that was meant to find you. We'll see you next time. Take care.